Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Finally, we got an announcement. I'm just going to share the tweet right away. Elon Musk, Master Plan 3, the path to a fully sustainable energy future for Earth, will be presented on March 1st. The future is bright. My cursor is a battery. Get it? Kind of on point, I think. And this image here really has drawn up a lot of speculation as far as what is in this image. Just real quick, I want to share with you what it looks like a little bit more closely. You can see a bunch of objects that might not be familiar to somebody who's not maybe deep in the auto market or really follows automobile manufacturing. But we have Corey Steuben from Monroe Live. Thank you so much, Corey, friend of the show. It looks like it's just a picture of a bunch of body sides. So basically the side of, it looks like a Model Y to me. That is sort of, it looks photoshopped. I highly doubt they have a place where we're able to take this picture. But just a representation of a lot of body sides in one picture, which to me, probably explains that they're going to be building a lot of things. And that's what this Investor Day is going to be focused on. Do make sure you check out Monroe Live. They put out a quick snippet on what they think this is really the representation is from this picture, plus a lot of other YouTube creators as well and Twitter creators that are speculating on this image. A lot of great stuff happening here in the last few hours since this was announced. But I really do think it lands on this sort of theme that production is about to explode, that we're about to get a lot of information as far as where Tesla is going to go from a production perspective. And it's really tied around two very basic primary functions, really, two main things. Get lots of stuff and make a lot of stuff with it. And this is something that Elon Musk has been talking about for quite a bit. One of the components, obviously, is to get the stuff, you need to get raw materials. So really the core components for a battery, like the chemicals, the lithium, and the iron and whatever else, the cobalt, whatever else you need to make that battery, plus, as well as aluminum and anything else you need to create the cars or the batteries. And obviously the best way to get things, really the only way to get raw materials, is through mining and refining those raw materials. I made a video 10 months ago now, which is completely insane for me to think about that. I've been doing this for over a year now, where Elon Musk initially talked about Master Plan Part 3, and really the thought process was scaling to extreme size. And I made a video, and I'll have a link for that in the description and somewhere up here with the card, where I really deep dove why mining makes sense. Over time, Tesla and Elon seem to have gotten a little bit more aggressive on the language on them potentially getting into the mining aspect of the business. I think they're still very hesitant because it's just a pain in the ass to be a miner, but it's something that they could be willing to do. And 10 months ago, I speculated they would, and it looks like they might be getting into it potentially. So I'm really curious to see if that gets announced on Investor Day to really get those raw materials. And of course, closely tied to getting those raw materials to really get to an insane scale, you need insane production. You need a lot of production. The material is not just going to sit there. They're going to have to do something with it. And this is obviously where two main things from Tesla are going to come into play, in addition to their energy business and battery business, is really understanding that compact car and or the robotaxi platform, which is really going to allow them to scale their vehicle segment to really, really, really big numbers, really, really big numbers over time. Tesla has a goal that by 2030, they want to get to a run rate of 20 million cars per year. And just in 2022, they delivered 1.3 million. So they have almost 20x to go from here until then. So you can see just how many more cars they have to build. Around that same thought process, I made a video about 5 months ago on the robotaxi and what I thought Tesla would unveil on this Master Plan Part 3. Again, I'll have a link in the description below and a card somewhere above me that really deep dives how I think Tesla is going to approach this compact car and robotaxi to get to that extreme scale, to be able to put those raw materials to good use. So if you're interested in that, feel free to jump over to that after this video or right now, whatever you want to do. Some clues that tell us what this actually could mean, what kind of insight we might get from this Investor Day. This was a slide from Tesla's 2020 Battery Day, where they outlined what they saw as what's needed from a battery manufacturing perspective to get to 100% electric transportation by a certain date. We don't know what that date is, but I think I have an idea of what that date is. And I want to sort of share that with you in this video as well. They're saying that at some point they need to get to 10 terawatt hours of battery production globally. And I believe this is for every single manufacturer, not just Tesla. It's just the entire market. And the same thing with energy. Of course, if we look at this slide, you can see only cars. And Tesla and Elon have constantly talked about the energy side of the business being the same size as the car side of the business. So if it's 10 terawatt hours for the cars, you would also assume somewhat loosely that the other side of the business will also be 10 terawatt hours. And if that's the case, then you just add 10 plus 10. It implies 20 terawatt hours of battery production required to get to some point where vehicles can be transferred over to be, fully electric and renewable, using renewable energies, solar, whatever else you want to use. Plus the same thing on the battery front. This number is about a factor of 10 less than some of the latest numbers Elon has shared, talking about 200 terawatt hours. But let's use this 20 terawatt hour number for now, just to kind of help us understand just how big of an implication this investor day could have as far as Tesla's growth goes. If you're enjoying this content, I would love it if you throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. Thank you so much. Let's assume Tesla captures 10% of that 20 terawatt hour goal in whatever time frame. That implies 2 terawatt hours, right? 20 times 10% is 2. And Tesla's 2022 earnings report under the operations, this was the second slide, I believe. Tesla announced 6.5 gigawatt hours of energy storage deployed in 2022, and the record vehicle deliveries of 1.31 million. If we take those two things together, if we take 1.3 million cars times 75 kilowatt hours per car in the battery, somewhat average, plus the 6.5 gigawatt hours on the energy side, it equals roughly 100 gigawatt hours that Tesla deployed in 2023, which is equal to 0.1 terawatt hours. So if you want to get from 0.1 terawatt hours to 2 terawatt hours at Tesla's continued 50% growth rate, if that continues year over year, that means that if that 50% holds, Tesla should get there at that 2 terawatt hour number within 8 years or so, which means that today's 2023, Tesla should get to this number somewhere around 2031 if that 50% growth holds. Just to frame it as far as what this could mean from Tesla's valuation, it's not financial advice, but I really want to put in picture just how big these numbers are, okay? Doesn't mean anything. I just want to really frame how big these numbers are. 0.1 terawatt hours that Tesla did in 2023, they were able to generate $15 billion of net income roughly for the year at about 15% operating margin. To get to 2 terawatt hours, if they held that same 15% operating margin, that would mean about $320 billion of net income, roughly, using that sort of number and extrapolating that into the future. And if you put a 20 times multiple, which is about average for companies that are at scale but are still growing their profits and revenues at a healthy level, this means a 6.4 trillion dollar market cap, which would equal to about $2,000 a share. Again, not financial advice. I just want to put in context what this growth actually means. And if you compare that to today's Tesla stock price, they're about $200 at the time of this recording. So that's a 10x. But again, I don't want you to do anything with this information. I just want to frame what this means from a size perspective. And so how are you going to do that, Tesla? These are crazy numbers. How are you going to do that? I really think the Investor Day and many others in the Tesla community as well, I mean, this is probably not news to somebody that's following this story very closely, but the manufacturing breakthroughs are really going to be at the center stage of this meeting, and Tesla really getting everybody caught up on everything they've been working on that's going to allow them to get to this terawatt hour battery capacity and scale. So these two things, I think, the Gen 3 platform, which is this robo-taxi compact car, or 4680 production, which is really Tesla's in-house battery, these are going to be the stars, I believe. 80% of the conversation is probably going to be centered around how do we get these two things to an insane level so that we can truly put a dent into moving the world to a sustainable future, getting EVs to be as common as a freaking iPhone, okay? And getting to a point where Most utility companies and most homes have some sort of battery in their home so that they can take advantage of the local sustainable renewable energy that they could leverage to store that energy into the battery. So that's really going to be the focus of this meeting. And those two videos that I showed earlier in this video, kind of deep dive my thoughts on how exactly to the detail Tesla's going to get there. And my thoughts are remaining relatively unchanged since then. And we're not even talking about full self-driving. We're not even talking about full self-driving, which, if you're not familiar with Tesla, is Tesla's attempt and solution for autonomous driving. So let's put those two things into perspective, right? Tesla's going to be focusing on batteries. They're going to be focusing on getting the cars to an insane level of production, but they're not even really going to be talking about full self-driving much, I don't think. I really don't think they are. And to me, again, this in my thought, in my head, this means that Tesla is so much more than a car company. And this could very well become the theme of Investor Day, where the rest of the market and the rest of the people that follow the story, maybe finally more people begin to understand this. I'm not calling anybody stupid if they don't. All I'm saying is that there's this behemoth underlying sort of underneath this entire Tesla story where folks are seeing it as a car company, but it's not. It's so much more than that. The way I think about Tesla, it's that it's an energy behemoth with an AI expertise. So the energy behemoth is Tesla's ability to create a bunch of batteries and a bunch of things that consume energy and store energy in vehicles and battery storage and utility level batteries, with the Megapack and things like that. And the AI expertise are things like energy arbitrage on the energy sector and obviously full self-driving, which is an autonomous system where it just drives for you. If you've been following this whole ChatGPT thing, you can see that happening with white-collar workers, where people can just have the thing code for them or replace many other things that people would usually use their brain for. Now we have a tool, theoretically, that's going to be able to do almost all of it. Think of full self-driving the same way. And so in my head, the way I think about the company, this is the framing that I always look at the company through. Energy behemoth with an AI expertise. I don't know any other company that does that. But the buyback, but what about the buyback? You've spent so much time on this video talking about Investor Day, and you haven't talked about this damn buyback. If you follow the Tesla story, you know that Elon Musk has talked about a buyback potentially being part of Tesla's plans in 2023, where they would buy back somewhere between $5 to $10 billion of stock. I really don't think this means anything for the stock. It's basically a small single-digit percentage equivalent of the market cap. So I really don't think it really moves anything from a stock perspective. It's inconsequential, but it sends a huge signal. So let's say Elon Musk does announce a buyback for Tesla, say in the coming, they'll start it next month and they'll finish it in a year or two. I don't know. I think it sends three big signals. Number one is that Tesla and Elon Musk and the leadership group don't believe a major recession is coming. Number two, that demand is secure for Tesla for the foreseeable future. And number three, that Tesla literally has too much cash. And the reason why this is Tesla's sitting down and saying, okay, we have $23 billion in our balance sheet, basically cash in the bank. We still think there's going to be more money coming in every single quarter from here on out. And we've already allocated X amount of dollars aside for Master Plan Part 3. So all the things we just talked about, this entire presentation, right? If I go back and go through it again, that's going to take a gigantic amount of money. But if they set that aside and say, okay, we've already allocated the money there, it's already sort of, we know what we're going to do with it, and we're still going to announce a buyback, what that means is that Tesla is just generating too much cash. They don't know what to do with it. And so the thought process is, okay, let's give it back. Let's buy back our stock and give it back, quote unquote, to the investors by a slightly higher stock price, like 1 or 2% higher. But these two things up here, I think, send a much bigger signal, because Elon Musk has been really talking about, oh my goodness, we're so afraid of a potential big recession happening in 2023, where if a buyback gets announced, it implies in my head that no such thing is likely. And ultimately, I view that, again, not financial advice, just how I'm thinking about this, if Elon comes out and announces a stock buyback, to me, that's the real bull market signal. Shout out Jim Cramer. I know people watch CNBC. I'm actually blocked by Jim Cramer on Twitter. I'm sure I said something that was very obnoxious years ago on Twitter. Sorry, Jim. Whoops. But for me, it's not Jim Cramer saying it's a bull market. All respect to Jim. The way I look at it is if we have somebody who is really deep into the supply chain and really understands what's going on from an economic perspective, that's deeply embedded in the economy, in this case, Tesla and Elon Musk, if they're saying buyback, that means that the economy is in good shape and they see a bright future for the company. And that to me is a real bull market signal for the entire stock market. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. This is it's going to be a big deal. March 1st. In Austin, they're going to be hosting this event. I think, I don't know what the time is, maybe 4 p.m., 5 p.m. local, but we'll see what time they host this thing. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What do you expect to see from this? What do you think of this video? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where's your head at with this thing? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you want to support the channel by becoming a patron, I have a link to my Patreon in the description below, as well as you can click on join right below this video somewhere. I never know if it's here or here. This will give you access to our private Discord, where we have an awesome growing community of people that love to talk about this and where technology is going to take us into the future. You'll get the link to our private Discord by doing either Patreon or YouTube. If you want to support the channel by purchasing some merch, just like the shirt I'm wearing right now, consider doing that in the description as well. Or you can also use my coupon code for Athletic Greens, which is a supplement I use every single morning. And it truly has made me into a healthier person. I've been using it for years, so consider doing that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Exciting stuff happening right now, and I can't freaking wait for Investor Day. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.